Well, as we mourn the victims of the attacks, political leaders promise life will go on. But how do we heal as a community and indeed as a nation? Well, let's talk through this with Hanif Qadir, former Taliban fighter and author of Preventing and Countering Violent Extremism and Terrorist Recruitment, and Camilla Tominey, deputy political editor of the Sunday Express. Morning to both of you. Hanif, this is very difficult because in these sort of circumstances, as much as cities like London unite, in many parts of the country it does cause further division.
It does, but I think, and this is one of the challenges that we have to face, especially in Britain, multicultural, multi-diverse. This is exactly what the terrorists want. They want division. They want to push people between a rock and a hard place. And if we allow that to happen, then they didn't just win yesterday. They will win for the rest of for the future. So it's a challenge for us as Londoners, as Brits, to unite and come together. It's going to be difficult because we know that within communities there are divisions. But it's about community leaders from all faiths, from all walks of life, to stand up and be united under a common voice.
Camilla?
Well, I agree with that. I think there's going to be a lot of talk about division, and especially with Article 50 and Brexit next week, there is this sense that we are a nation divided. Having said that, I think having witnessed the aftermath of the attack and been in lockdown with a great different array of people, actually there's a huge spirit of collaboration, a collegiate spirit, not just in London but in this country. I think the problem, and we were discussing this just now off air, is that there are some communities, and I think both white communities and Muslim communities, where there are people very entrenched in their views, and their views are not in keeping with that spirit of cooperation and collaboration. It's not British to either be extremist on the right or indeed to have very fundamental ideas about religion and misinterpretation of religion. And I think Hanif's point is those are the communities we need to get at, particularly the Muslim community, the closed up areas of the Muslim community where people may be being radicalised and no one really seems to be able to get to them apart from your organisation, and try and stop that. We have to have some awkward conversations.
So what do we do in terms of that? Because as outsiders, if you like, I guess there's very little we can do. It is down to people like you to try and get in there and break that.
Well, look, I mean, the attack on London the other day is a sad and unfortunate situation. But we work 7 days a week, 365 days a year, working effectively within the communities that are normally excluded. And this is one of the challenges that we faced, and the government must look at and face as well, is that there are communities that are not being engaged with, and we have to look and change the way we engage or decide to engage. There's a political correctness about not engaging with the conservative elements within our community. We have to engage with every community, and it's from within these communities where the problems arise. It's indicative of what's happened the other day. That we have to engage with every single member within our community, the young people especially. But it's the communities that will shape and change the way our future is.
What strikes me with all of it, I mean, in relation to what we've seen in the past here, but also what we've seen in other countries when these sort of things happen, is that we're not seeing knee-jerk reactions from our political leader. I mean, certainly Theresa May seems to have been very, very calm, very slow in delivering sort of thoughtful comment on this, if you like. And that's got to be a positive thing, hasn't it?
I think her reaction to recent events has been spot on. Both there's a stressing of the defiance and the keep calm and carry on, but also a very measured and sensitive approach to what's happened. We can't just keep calm and carry on and pretend what happened hasn't happened. Yeah. Having said that, I think as well, she's speaking on behalf of the vast majority of people in this country who don't look at an attack like this and say to themselves, all Muslims are terrorists, right? Nobody with a right mind thinks that. However, it is perfectly legitimate for both white people, Muslims, people of any race, to ask some serious questions about why it is that this man or young teenagers or whoever are being radicalised in this way. And that requires a very open debate. It doesn't require judgmental debate. It requires people like Hanif, people in the press, to ask the right questions to the right people. And if it means putting some of these radicalised people on a platform and challenging them in public and exposing their views for what they are, then we have to grasp the nettle and do that.
Right, that would be a brave move, wouldn't it?
Well, look, we've been putting these extremists on the platform and challenging them. We're finding out, I mean, over the years, 12, 13 years we've been doing this. It's risky business. Tackling extremism is risky business. Problem is, however, what Camilla's also alluded to, we've spoken before, is that there's a bit of a risk averseness within government. It seems too risky to be engaging with extremists in their environments, at their events, because it's too risky. That's where the problem is. But I mean, going back to what Theresa May said, it's a very powerful statement. Looking at what other leaders around the world have been doing, recently about the divisive politics and all that. Theresa May has been, very sort of vocal about this and sort of united the communities. But going back again to that engagement, we have to engage and challenge the radicals where they are.
Okay, well, Camilla said we need to understand why people are becoming radicalised, what is attracting them to the south. Okay. Well, look, this is something you're dealing with every single day. So what are the key points? What's triggering this in people?
We can go into this debate. It's a huge debate. Yeah. And I've written a book entirely about this. What drives a young person or an individual to become radicalised to a point where he's going to go and kill somebody? Now, it's a whole book, okay? So there are a number of issues. And if we don't understand what those issues are, we're never going to achieve any success. Our job is, within the organisation, is to go into communities, find out and build a relationship with those communities, find out what's affecting them. What's the narrative today? Because we always talk about the narratives or the stories, but what are those? Let's find out from the horse's mouth. Let's engage with those communities, find out what's going on within them so we can tackle the problem.
Well, as you say, it's a huge area, but let's hope with this, looking for a silver lining, that we can, push that debate further and make some progress here.
But one point is that if we don't invest within our communities, which are the ones that are going to tackle this problem, you can't just rely on security services and police. It's the communities that need to be invested within, and the young people especially, to be the defensive for our country going forward.
Okay. Hanif, Camilla, thank you both. Good to get your views this morning. Let's just get a roundup of everything else for you today with Isabel.